Tommy, do we have quorum?
Yes.
Sounds great. Okay, then I think we'll get started now. Um, before we, or actually, I'll call today's meeting to order. I call today's USAC meeting for July 22nd, at 7:03. Um, oh, and then also special shout out to our internal vice president, Tommy. Happy birthday. Um, we can now move on to our agenda. Um, are there any amendments to our agenda today? Yes, Bethany.
Hi, can we please strike capital contingency allocations as well as contingency allocations? Thank you.
Nico?
Everyone, can I please strike Bruin card and laundry grant allocations? And then also, there were two bylaw changes on the agenda last week for new business that should be voted on during this week.
Yes, thank you, thank you. Tommy, do you need the link to those, or do you want me to send
I'll
those
add it in
over
a
to you?
second. I was gonna motion them when I do my long list of motions I need to adjust for appointments.
Okay, thank you, Nico. Hannah?
Can we please strike SWC programming fund allocations? Thanks.
Thank you. Sherry?
Hi, can we please strike bag allocations?
Thank you. Joy?
Hi, can we please strike TGIF allocations?
Thank you. Chris Espino?
Hello, may we please strike academic success referendum and travel grant money fund applications?
Thank you. Divine?
Hi, can we strike ARC allocations, please?
And then is Edison here? Otherwise, I can motion to strike SF.
Yeah. I was gonna ask, yeah. I think you can strike it.
And I'll motion to strike SFS. In addition, I motion to add the bylaw changes that were heard at the previous meeting. Let me get their official titles. I motion to add a Article 2 bylaw change to the agenda. And then do we have to vote on them separately since they're voting items?
Yes.
All right. Motion to add Article 2 bylaw change to the agenda.
I think you have to use the exact, like, what their bylaw changes for.
I think it's just Article 2 bylaw change. If you want the subsection, I can also do that. Article 2, Section C, Clause 4F, bylaw change to the agenda. Can someone
Is there a
second?
second?
Second.
Thank you. Tommy motions, Hannah seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. All abstaining. With the votes of 12 to 0, that is approved. And then if there are no other amendments, we can motion. Can someone motion, please, to approve today's agenda?
Hold up. That's not. We have another one.
Oh, okay.
Can I motion to add another bylaw change to the agenda? Can I motion to add an Article 2, Section C, Clause 4I bylaw change to the agenda?
Second.
Tommy motions, Divine seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. Please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. All abstaining. With the votes 11 to 0, that is approved. Is there anything else, Tommy?
I would like to motion to add an appointment to the Academic Senate for Katie Chan to the agenda. It's a voting one, so I motion. Someone needs second.
I second.
Tommy motions. Who's Talia?
Yes.
Talia seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Thank you. Please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. All abstaining. Chris, is that a yes or no?
No, it's a yes.
Okay, thank you. With the votes 11 to 0, that is approved.
And then one more, I motion to add an appointment for Caitlin Kim to the ASU CLA Comms Board to the agenda.
Okay. Did you add the second bylaw change or are they both there?
I'm gonna add them as soon as I'm done motioning.
Okay, no worries. Did you motion?
I did.
Second.
I second that motion.
Tommy motions, Hannah seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. All abstaining with a vote of 11 to 0, that is approved. And Tommy, was that it?
Yes, we should be good to go.
Just check here. Okay, sounds good.
One more.
Okay.
Can I motion to add an appointment for Hiram Yoon? And that is for the TSR. Let me get the exact name. The TSR Transfer Leadership Coalition, please. And that one's consent. So actually, anyone have opposition?
There's no opposition. You can put it in the agenda. You don't need to add that to the
We don't
agenda.
need to add it to the agenda? Okay, then strike that.
Chris?
Yeah, thank you. Quick question. Usually the academic appointments or any appointments have the last name of the council member at the end of the name of the candidate we're interviewing. Is it possible to add those so that we're cognizant of who's moving who forward?
Yes, thank you so much. Tommy, can you add that when possible?
Yeah.
Thank you. I believe they're all, I believe they're all Harims except for the FICOM. That's mine.
They're not all mine. Sorry. I need to review the agenda. I think some of the academics that I think one of them, I think Katie is Chris's, but the other two, mine and Andres, are mine.
Okay, please confirm on that. I believe I have one for Espino, 4 for Yoon, 1 for Boyo.
Sorry, I don't know if you saw the chat, but Chris said that Otmi is his appointment as well. So Otmi and Katie should be Chris, and then Jen and Andres should be for me, and then the Comsport appointment's mine too.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's correct.
I have 3 Yoon, 2 Espino, 1 Boyo.
Yes.
Sounds
that's
great.
correct.
All right, then Diego, do you want to
Thank you,
motion to
Tommy.
approve?
Yes. Is there a motion to approve today's agenda for July 22nd?
I motion. I
Second.
motion to approve the agenda for July 22nd, 2025.
I second.
Thank you. Tommy motions, Jay a second. All in favor, please raise your hands. please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. And all abstaining, please raise your hands. With a vote to 12 to 0 to 0, well, with a vote to 12 to 0 to 0, that motion passes and the agenda is approved for July 22nd. We will now be moving on to the approval of the minutes from July 8th. Hopefully everyone's had an opportunity to review these minutes. These are, well, I mean, actually, no, I'm just waiting. If there is any opposition to these, we can move forward. If not, that sounds great. Thank you. We will now move on to public comment. I open up public comment at 7:13 p.m. Is there anybody here for public comment today? If so, please raise your hands. One final call for public comment. If not, I close today's public comment at 7:14 p.m. Seeing as we have no funding allocations, we can move on to our appointments. And we will now begin with Chris Espino's first appointment to the Academic Senate. I'm so sorry. I think, well, Tommy, actually, we can start. If you can pull up the timer and then I'll explain how this process will work.
All right, yes, pulling up now.
Thank you. So for our students who are here today for our appointments, just a brief overview of how this will work. You have a 1-minute introduction where you introduce yourself to the council. That will be that comes, and then after that comes a 15-minute question and answer period, where council members can ask you questions outside of the ARC related questions. And then after that, you have a 1-minute closing statement. And then after that, Tommy or any of the ARC council members will give their recommendations to council. Council will then have a deliberation period, and finally, we will motion for votes. With that said, we will now begin with our first appointment to the Academic Senate Committee on Library and Scholarly Research. I believe the person is here. Tommy, can you give them access? I don't know if they have already access to unmute.
Talking is permitted.
Okay, thank you.
Everyone.
Hello. Sorry. Feel free to introduce yourself whenever you're ready. Give your 1-minute
Two
opening
quick things.
statement.
I don't think I have ability to turn my camera on. And second thing, the committee's called Library and Scholarly Communication. Just want to clarify that for the record, but I'm good to go whenever you guys are.
Okay. Tell me whenever you can.
Uh,
Awesome.
Yeah, my name is Atmi Mehta. I'm a rising senior public health major with a minor in brain and behavioral health and professional writing. And this will be my third year on COLASC, or the Committee on Library and Scholarly Communication. I think I would be a great fit because I've already served 2 years on this committee and had amazing opportunities to make great change and get the libraries engaged among students. And advocate for students in this role. I actually used to be a library employee at the Biomed Library, where I had built such great relationships with the librarians and library directors and staff, which made it amazing for me to actually get involved in this committee. Contrary to my assumption before in my sophomore year, I thought I'd be able to advocate for student employees and students in the library space, but this committee is research and academic publishing focused. But nonetheless, I took this opportunity in great stride and was able to build a relationship with the brand new university librarian and talk to her about things that we need at UCLA Library for students.
Thank you so much. We will now be moving on to our 15-minute question and answer period. Council members, if you have a question, please raise your hand. Yes, Chris.
Hey, me, nice to see you again. I wanted to know a little bit more about what your passion project entailed for the Academic Affairs Commission last year and who and how and what you ended up doing.
Totally. My first year, I was able to devise a workshop for students, one that wasn't before, because one thing about this committee is when I initially entered in my sophomore year, I thought it was going to be student facing. Um, Contrary to that, nothing is about students in this committee, and that's not the charge of it. So the charge for this committee is to focus on research, open access, publishing, and faculty resources as they relate to academic freedom, or sorry, academic research and scholarly communication. Um, so as I learned in this committee about open access and research and publishing and the constantly changing environments around policies surrounding this, I thought it would be great to involve students. And so I devised a workshop that addressed open access in research and publishing for undergraduates because it can be rather daunting. Professors definitely have experience in research, but students don't. And so this was a chance for me to help students get involved in research and publishing. Unfortunately, due to campus closure that year, I wasn't able to present it. But the following year, I was able to continue this project. And last year, was able to get it posted. And another project I did last year, which I thought was great, was in conjunction with another academic senator. And we were able to complete a physical project where we gathered books and were able to gather books for incarcerated individuals at a local prison near Los Angeles. This would be my final year on COLASC if appointed, and I'm extremely excited to make a long-lasting impact. I'm really hopeful about doing something physical, getting students involved early with the library, and increasing student resources for as they relate to the library and scholarly communication, like research and open access and publishing.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Otmi. Thanks for joining us. I've really appreciated getting to know you this past school year and get to work with you through the academic senate setting. So I wanted to know what pushes you to come back to this position every single year.
Oh my gosh, yes. I love this committee. Chris last year said that this is the least applied to committee and kind of makes me sad. The initial reason, like I mentioned, why I first joined my sophomore year was that I was a library employee at Biomed, and I felt like there could definitely be some changes for our patrons to make them give them more resources or for a student employees to advocate for things that we wanted as employees. And so I learned about this committee and joined. Like I mentioned before, it was not at all about students, but I didn't let this stop me. And I was able to build a relationship with our brand new university librarian, kind of like the dean of the libraries, if you want to consider it that way. And it was great to be able to bring up to her issues that we as students cared about. She was extremely receptive and excited. Um, and the following year, we were able to talk about a lot of the things that students need beyond this committee. So outside of the committee, because I was on this committee, I was able to get in with her and talk about these things. And I'm continuing to, foster this relationship with her. Even this summer, we're already discussing plans of how can we get students in at the earliest point, make them aware of library resources. I'm extremely passionate about the libraries to directly answer your questions. I worked there and it was just such a fun job, the coworkers and the people, and being able to give patrons access to, education, was such an honor. And I frankly love the Academic Senate, the work I did as a senator, bringing student voices and student library workers to the table has been awesome. So that's why I keep coming back. I really do love this committee, and I hope I can do it justice.
Thank you so much. Council members, are there any other final questions? Or not final, but any other questions? Last call. If not, oh yeah, so yeah, thank you so much, Atmi. If not, we can move on to our 1 minute closing, your 1 minute closing statement. Tommy, whenever you're ready. Or Tommy, yeah. Thank you. Whenever you're ready.
Okay. Thank you all so much for listening to me. My passion for the libraries is deep rooted, and I'm very grateful that I was able to serve these last 2 years. And I'm excited to be on here for a third year and go out with a bang. It's been such a pleasure to bring student voices to the table, build these amazing relationships with these directors in the library. Athena Jackson is such an amazing university librarian, and I'm so grateful to work with her. And I'm thankful to all of you for allowing me this opportunity. I'm excited about next year. I really hope to continue the passion projects I've done in creating workshops, resources, and even physical projects. And I'm excited to serve students in the frame of the libraries. So thank you all.
Thank you so much. We will now be moving on to our ARC recommendations. I believe Tommy, if not someone else.
All right. Every year, Atmi seeks reappointment. She comes back with more of a reason for us to put her back in the student. One sec. For us to put her back in the student representative position with Colask. This past year, Atmi voiced that her proudest accomplishment working in Colask has been bringing student voices to the table, as current bylaws do not discuss any relation to students. She is a proactive leader, possibly the strongest and most dedicated student leader Colask has ever seen, as she is coming back for a third year. ARC is excited to see what new things she will accomplish through this role. With a 3-0 vote, ARC recommends Atmi for this appointment.
Thank you so much, Tommy. We will now move on to our deliberation period. If there are any comments or anyone from ARC or any council members, please raise your hands. Yes, sir.
Hi, so within my position in the Academic Affairs Commission last school year, I got to work a little bit with OPME, and I got to assist with her passion project last school year too, which was really fun and exciting. And honestly, I don't think there's anyone more passionate about the library system than OPME. So I'm really excited to see her reappointed to this position.
Chris.
Hello, everyone. I just wanted to very succinctly point out that Otmi's appointment to the Committee on Library and Scholarly Communication should feel more like a no-brainer. Otmi has been perchance one of the most dedicated individuals to this specific committee. She has developed the relationships within committee. She is cognizant of the skills needed to achieve and succeed within this committee. And so I'm very, very excited to see her if, I'm excited to see all the wonderful things that so she'll still continue to do in this committee when she's reappointed.
Thank you so much, everyone. We will now be moving on to a vote. Can someone please motion to move for a vote?
I motion to approve Atmi for an appointment to the Academic Senate for a year to the Colask Committee.
I second.
Tommy motions. Joy seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. All abstaining, please raise your hands. With a vote of 12 to 0, this candidate is approved for an appointment. So congratulations.
Thank you all so much.
We'll now move on to our next candidate for the Academic Senate Faculty Welfare Committee. I believe this is our TSR's position. Jen, whenever you're ready, please, you can begin your 1-minute introduction.
Perfect, thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jen Bulajam. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a third-year transfer student coming into UCLA, so first year. I'm majoring in sociology with an emphasis in international law and policy and double majoring in philosophy. I'm applying for the undergraduate student appointment for the Academic Senate Faculty Welfare Committee. I have served as vice president of ASG at Santa Ana College, where I sat on both Academic Senate, College Council, and District Council, where I worked directly with faculty on employment policy, resource equity, and shared governance. Through that, I've learned something very crucial, which is advocating for students and advocating for faculty are not the same thing, but both of them matter deeply to our student body. This appointment to me isn't just about bringing student demands into a faculty space. It's about representing students responsibly in faculty-centered conversations like salary equity, housing, retirement, etc. The impact long-term faculty sustainability and my extension student success. I believe I'm strong because I know how to listen and contribute while creating a bridge.
Thank you so much. We will now be moving on to our 15-minute question and answer period. For any council members who have any questions, please raise your hand and you will be called on. Yes, Shem.
Hi, Jen. So glad that you're here tonight. I was just wondering what excites you most about the idea of joining Academic Senate?
Yeah, what excites me most is being able to again work with faculty. I really enjoy bringing the student voice into the faculty-centered spaces while also pushing for student equity and student needs as well. And again, voicing what we need as students while hearing what faculty is needing and being able to support faculty from a student perspective while also maintaining students' wellness, as I believe it all ties together. Faculty wellness ties together with student wellness.
Yes, Chris.
Hello, Jen. Thank you for being here today.
Yes, thank you.
As someone who is endeavoring to serve on the faculty executive committee, um, let's suppose that the university is considering expanding its online course offerings these post-pandemic times, and there's staunch debate about balancing perhaps quality education with accessibility. What proposal would you bring specifically to this committee to address this challenge? And how would you convince others of its long-term benefits for both students and faculty?
I would definitely be wanting to pull data and numbers based off of how things were in pandemic times and how the academics soared. I would also like to look at, let's say, Cal State LA, who have just moved to online for purposes of their student welfare and also their faculty welfare. I would definitely be reaching out to across campuses to the different affinity centers and getting everybody's input so that the collaboration could be deep intersectionally, um, and really putting together a most likely like a PowerPoint or something or a document that I could present, advocating for those online classes, for creating the equity and the for those who need it most. Just and then if I am met with resistance, which I can imagine I would be, as it's a point of contention where I came from at Santa Ana, I would just continue to bring forward the data that is out there that students do need some online forums for classes.
Thank you so much. Is there any other council members that would like to ask a question? Yes, Chris.
Thank you, Jen. I really appreciated your response. My final question for you is, as you've mentioned, effective communication is truly essential, especially within the academic senate realm. How would you articulate the benefits of a academic proposal that perhaps is not popular from the faculty end, but incredibly popular on the student end to a diverse group of faculty members who have varying levels of support for this idea?
I would see about reaching out to some mentors that I would have like on the faculty side in order to create that so that it is very academically driven and diversified across the instruction of the professors, faculty, etc., so that the collaboration is deep. But not only there, not just with a mentor or other faculty members, professors, I would even seek the guidance from the USAC council, see what you guys who have already been in these roles previous to my being here, um, and really go over it and tweak that out and tease it out so that it becomes something that we can present to faculty that they could truly understand the benefits that it has from the students' perspective. It would definitely take some work because from my experience, there's that you have those faculty that don't necessarily want to listen to what students have to say, but our student voice is important. And I definitely would be pulling up people on board to collaborate with that project so that I wasn't just doing it alone. And then definitely having feedback and bounce back between y'all selves and then the transfer center and just bringing in all those different branches of our student body together to make sure that we have a culmination of all the voices.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Mhm.
If there are not any other questions from council members, final call. If not, thank you so much, Jennifer.
Thank
We
you
will
so
now be
much.
moving. Yeah, of course, we will now be moving on to your 1-minute closing statement whenever you're ready.
Perfect. Well, I just want to thank you all for your time and thoughtful questions. And I just want to emphasize that I do take this role seriously because I understand its scope. The Faculty Welfare Committee is not necessarily a student-facing space, but it's a space where faculty economic well-being is the focus. And student voices must be careful, informed, and collaborative, while at the same time making sure we are speaking for the student body. In every shared governance role I've had, from ASG to the Academic Senate, I've seen how institutions thrive when we honor the specific needs of each group while finding common ground. And if appointed, I will approach this role with humility, professionalism, and a deep respect for faculty labor and long-term welfare, knowing that this work ultimately strengthens the academic foundations we all rely on, and that students still must be centered even in the faculty space. So again, thank you for your consideration and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. We will now be moving on to ARC recommendations.
Yeah, I can give ARC's recommendation for Jen. So we wrote that Jen is a rare kind of leader, one that we don't come across often. Her ARC interview showed that not only does she possess a strong understanding of the responsibilities of the academic senate, she's also a natural leader. Her previous leadership experience at Santa Ana College, alongside her empathetic approach towards genuinely listening to student needs, tells us all that we need to know, which is that Jen is unafraid and ready to uplift the voices of her fellow students. With a 4-0 vote, ARC enthusiastically recommends Jen for this appointment.
Thank you so much. We will now be moving on to council deliberations. If you have any comments or questions, please raise your hands. Yes, sir.
I just want to say that Jen is genuinely one of the sweetest people that I know. And she's also so knowledgeable about everything, her lived experiences. I think everything that makes her who she is has contributed to the way that she acts as a leader. And it's admirable. I truly look up to Jen as a person. So I strongly, strongly urge you guys to consider voting yes on this appointment. I believe that Jennifer will do an amazing, amazing job.
Thank you so much. Is there anybody else? If not, can someone please motion to vote on this candidate's appointment?
I motion to appoint Jen to the Academic Senate for the 2025 to 2026 academic year.
I
I
second.
second that motion.
Your motions, Tommy seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. Please, all abstaining, please raise your hands. With the votes to, I believe that was 11 to 0. The Jennifer is approved to serve on this academic senate committee. Congratulations, Jennifer.
Thank you. Have a good evening, guys.
Thank you so much. We will now be moving on to Bethany for FICOM chair. Bethany, whenever you're ready, feel free to start your 1-minute introduction.
Hi everyone, my name is Bethany Tong, and I'm a business economics student entering my 4th year at UCLA, minoring in environmental systems and sustainability. Getting the opportunity to have served on FICAM for the past 3 years, 2 years as a freshman committee member, or 1 year as a freshman committee member, 1 year as a vice chair, and 1 year as the head chair, has resulted in a lot of learning and growth, which I'm very grateful for. I have interests in finance as well as being involved in UCLA. I think my passion for finance and serving the student body sets me apart from others. Being on the finance committee for USAC blends these two passions, and so I would like to be a part of the finance committee again this year.
Thank you so much, Bethany. We will now be moving on to our 15-minute question and answer period. For council members, if you have a question, please raise your hands and you will be called on. Actually, I'll go first. Hi, Bethany. Seeing as this is my appointment, it was great to work with you last year, and thank you for your term last year. I was going to question in regards to your vision for FICOM and any changes you'd make based on your term last year as chair.
Yeah, thank you for that question. And think in terms of longer term vision, there are a couple of things that we have in mind right now. The first is, I think transparency is super important. And within that, I think there are 2 different areas that we're looking at. First is increasing our social media presence. So I know this year we did increase it by a little bit, but with one of our new FICOM members that we just hired on in the spring, Emery, it was just great to have her start running the Instagram. So that's something that we are looking to continue to expand to try to, just reach a student body with information on how FICOM's doing, exactly when we're hiring more people, when forms are due, things like that as well. Second thing is a spreadsheet and a dashboard that we're currently working on. Currently, all of our data that we allocate, all the funds that we allocate, feed into a dashboard on Excel that one of our team members, Suhan, has been working on. And so I've been working closely with him to ensure that that spreadsheet is up to date with information weekly as that is sent from accounting to us with how much money is left in our funds to make sure that we're able to allocate funds fully and in an equitable way. And so that's one other thing that we're working on. Right now, some of the formulas are a little bit off, so just trying to make that brushed up before we release that to the public as well.
Thank you so much. And then a second question for me. What was the most difficult decision you and your committee made this year or faced this year? And how did you navigate that?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. One difficult thing, the first thing that comes to mind is just making sure that our fees or our allocations are made in a fair manner. I think it's always a difficult decision to make when we have a large amount of applications and we're only able to provide funding to or partial funding to all of them and not even fully fund the majority of them. And so I think just prioritizing this year, prioritizing student clubs that haven't applied for or haven't received allocations in the past, making sure that as many clubs as possible can get those funds that they need to run their programs and the events that they put on, as well as just making sure we know how to forecast the future and allocate accordingly, knowing that we do have to make sure we can still have enough money for the end of the year, but also want to make sure events, earlier in the year are getting funded as well. So I think that's definitely something that's difficult year to year. I remember my freshman year, we actually ran out of money and didn't have any money for all of spring quarters. So that's definitely something that we want to avoid. And thankfully, we have avoided in the past 2 years too.
Thank you. And then one final question. You brushed upon this a bit, but how would you go about strengthening the outreach to student organizations organizations who typically are unfamiliar with the funding process?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think one thing is I do know when student organizations become an organization, all the signatories do have to attend a finance and funding uh, sort of a event where they sit through it, a training on how to receive funding for their club. So that should be pretty straightforward as long as they watch the videos and the trainings. But I do know that there are a lot of clubs where maybe the signatories aren't the same ones who handle the finances. And so for that, I think we're obviously going to continue office hours this year. But in addition to that, me and Russell, the vice chair, have been talking about holding sessions where we kind of have a seminar style, Q&As or even just info sessions on frequently asked questions. We do get a lot of the same emails with some of the questions from week to week. So that's definitely something that we can keep track of and make sure that if there are some holes in the system where people are, there's lack of information for a large part of the student body, that we'll be able to answer those accordingly.
Thank you so much, Bethany. I'll now move it on to any other council members. If you have any questions, please raise your hands. Final call for questions for Bethany. If not, we can move. Wait, no, wait. If not, we can move on to our 1-minute closing statement. Bethany, whenever you're ready.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here today and interview. I appreciate that I've been able to come here and answer any questions that you guys may have. I understand that it is an important role for the well-being of our student groups and organizations on campus. And if I'm appointed, it would be my honor to make sure that the financial allocations are equitably and fairly distributed. And I appreciate your time today.
Thank you so much, Bethany. With that said, we'll now move on to our ARC recommendations.
While there isn't much to say, Bethany has proven herself to be the most qualified person for this position. Art continues to be impressed by her, and with a 3-0 vote, we enthusiastically recommend her for reappointment.
Thank you so much, Tommy. We'll now move on to council deliberations. I'll go first. Bethany, I think you've done an incredible job last year as chair for FICOM during my term as Gen Rep, and I look forward to working with you if you are appointed during my term as president and your second term as FICOM chair, and you would have 4 years of FICOM experience. And if appointed, we look forward to seeing you pass on this institutional knowledge to other incoming FICOM members or vice chairs or chairs in the years to come. So thank you. Tommy?
Yes, if you're reelected, Bethany, or reappointed, I just want to say thank you so much for a past amazing year. You were literally on top of your stuff all the time. So obsessed with you reapplying. And yeah, thank you for your interview today again.
Alrighty. Seeing that can someone please motion for a vote? Yes, Tommy.
I motion to appoint Bethany Tong to FICOM for the 2025-2026 academic year.
Second.
Tommy motion, Sherry seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. All abstaining, please raise your hands. With a vote of 11 to 0. Yes, with a vote to 11 to 0, Bethany is reappointed to FICOM chair. Congratulations, Bethany.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, everyone. Now we will move on to our next appointments for the Academic Senate College Faculty Executive Committee. I believe this is Chris Espino's appointment. Katie, whenever you're ready, please begin your 1-minute introduction statement.
Hi, just give me a second. Okay. Hello, USAC. My name is Katie Chan. I prefer the she, her pronouns. I've grown up in San Jose and I'm excited to be an incoming freshman majoring in neuroscience. Um, Something I've been trying to bring into fruition is hitting the ground running at UCLA and dedicating myself to causes that align with my values, particularly in educational advocacy, in the sense that every student should know that, or like when we're enrolling into any series of courses, programs, they should know what it entails to allow for smooth sailing. And a core factor of this is course major requirement approval and things along those lines. And that's where I want to begin my involvement and directly interact with the approval process to better it as I begin to know it. But beyond my passion for educational advocacy, I am someone who is disciplined and has the tenacity to see things through. And on that note, I cannot envision myself not being involved in educational advocacy, and I'd love to get more into that and into my experiences soon.
Thank you so much, Katie. We will now move on to our 15-minute question and answer period. Council members, if you have any questions for our candidate, please raise your hand. Yes, Chris.
Hello, Katie. Thank you for being here today. My first question for you is, what do you see as the most exigent issue facing the academic senate, and how would you plan to address said issue during your term?
I think that the biggest issue with the academic senate right now would be um, in regards to a connect to both the faculty and the students and specifically in how the students are I guess perceiving how the procedures go about in regards to course approval and things on um, the logistics side of the academic senate. And this understanding of how the faculty is involved and how the academic senators are all involved is something that needs to be addressed. And I think that a big factor into this would be addressing through like public media and all of the media channels that the academic senate has currently, and really highlighting through those channels how exactly the students are represented in the academic senate right now, and how students can get involved with having their opinions be heard rather than sitting on the sidelines and having to bear with the current status quo.
Yes, yeah.
Hi, Katie. Thanks for joining us today. Just curious, since my work deals with a lot of new students, I wanted to know, as a new student, what attracted you to join the Academic Senate over other USAC committees, and what are you excited the most to accomplish through your role as a student representative on the Senate?
Okay, so going into UCLA, I wanted to definitely get involved with educational advocacy, and I did look into all of the different communities within the Academic Senate, and specifically what interested me with the FEC and along with like the undergraduate council and the legislative assembly was their involvement in the approval of like academic programs. But I ultimately ended up applying for the faculty executive committee because of how it is the first body to look over the whatever proposal is made by departments, because after departments review it and approve it, it goes to the college faculty executive committee, and that is where the undertone of all of the other reviews is made. So it's like the first voice to be represented within the review process and the approval process. And that's what wanted me to get involved, because I want to be able to voice and represent other students' ideas while also balancing the faculty's consideration of feasibility of changes, and balancing both of those at the same time is definitely necessary within the committee that is majority faculty. And then in regards to what I want to achieve and what I want out of the committee is that I want to be able to push forward students' voices while also balancing the faculty's ideas, of course. But I want to be able to be someone that the faculty is able to, I guess, respect and be able to look to for opinions and be able to be someone who is memorable in the sense that in following years for future representatives of the faculty executive committee to also have that same respect and have that same value within their opinion as well.
Chris and then Sherry.
Hello, Katie. My final question for you is what personal experiences, aside from the undeniable passion you have for educational advocacy, what other values, aside from that value, drive your desire to serve on the Academic Senate? And how do those inform the way in which you approach this role?
Yeah, so it's my passion is relatively parallel to my value in equity. I've grown up in San Jose and it's part of the Silicon Valley and it's associated with a lot of like big tech companies. But what often gets overlooked are communities that are lower income, like the ones that I've grown up in. And in my high school career, my experience within this low income community and neighborhood has taught me that because of how people are not, or students are not focusing on their grades or higher education, and counselors are not pushing for higher education and they're pushing for just graduating, a lot of students are unmotivated. So where equity comes into play and where I came into play with my experiences was that I was able to join a club called California Scholarship Federation. And there I was able to eventually rise up to be a two-term president within my junior and senior year. And there I was able to enact change by hosting large-scale workshops. It was the largest college workshop on campus. And we would over those 2 years, we garnered over 100 students coming in to listen to a diverse speakers and panelists, all representing different majors and different types of higher educational pathways. And there is where I wanted to reach out to as many students as possible in order to overcome the barrier of like unmotivated students in the area, especially, and be able to provide them the channel to learn the different pathways they can take and how they can personalize their future and begin working towards it.
Thank you, Katie. And then I believe Sherry had a question.
Oh, my question was the same as Chris's.
Okay, sounds great. Are there any other questions? If not, thank you so much, Katie. We will now be moving on to our ARC recommendations.
I can read the ARC recommendation. Despite being new to college, Katie demonstrated a wealth of knowledge when it came to the responsibilities of UCLA's Academic Senate. Her interview answers were mindful and approached balancing both student and faculty interests carefully, which is crucial for a committee like the College Faculty Executive Committee. ARC is excited to not only see how Katie grows within her role as an undergraduate representative to the Academic Senate, but also what her overall time in USAC will look like over the next 4 years. We're certain her future within undergraduate student government looks bright. With a 4-0 vote, ARC strongly recommends Katie for this appointment.
I'm so sorry. I was just reminded by Hannah. Tommy, can you restart to 1 minute, please? Katie, and then you'll give your 1 minute closing statement, and then we'll just move on to deliberations. But thank you, Sherry.
Okay, thank you. I hope that during this interview, my discipline and determination seeped through despite any stutters I might have had. Interviews are definitely something I'm working on actively, and among many other goals, I would hope to be able to improve upon them along alongside other student representatives and UCLA senators and learn from those who have much more experience coming before me. I'm a firm believer that there is no better time than now to work towards the better, and I hope that my eagerness in my application and maybe seemingly hastiness is something that everyone can look past. With my roots in educational advocacy and equity in high school for low-income and unmotivated students, I look forward to engaging with students at such an already amazing institution and working towards new heights. Thank you for all your time and consideration.
Thank you so much, Katie. We will now move on to our council deliberations. If you have any comments or questions, please raise your hand. Yes, sir.
Okay, sorry for all my background noise, but I just wanted to say that ARC especially was so impressed by Katie's application, and just her commitment and her knowledge on the academic senate. I know that that kind of information is really difficult to find. Trust me, like I was in that position last school year trying to find all this information on the academic senate. So just the wealth of knowledge that she demonstrated and how passionate she feels about the topics that the academic senate discusses. I'm truly excited to see where Katie takes this role if appointed.
Thank you. Yes, Chris.
Yes, thank you. I wanted to firstly congratulate you, Katie, for giving such a stellar interview. I'm not sure if the rest of the council is cognizant of this, but my current chief of senate is conducting interviews for all of the candidates before moving forward to ARC. And so my chief of senate, Ledesma, was able to interview Katie and heard incredible things. And so I'm very excited and hopeful that the rest of the council votes yes on your appointment. I really, really love when candidates are able to think on the spot, even if they don't have the knowledge with respect to the committee or the academic senate more generally, but it's the passion that we really look for and really love in the academic affairs commission. So Katie, thank you for doing such an incredible job of answering our questions.
Thank you. Any other council members? If not, we can move on to motion for a vote.
I motion to approve. Oh. Chris, you want to do it?
Yeah, I can do it. Okay. I motion to appoint Katie Chan to the Academic Senate the Committee on the College Faculty Executive Committee for the 2025 to 2026 academic school year.
Second.
Thank you, Chris. Motions and Joy seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. Please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. And all abstaining, please raise your hands. With a vote of 11 to 0, that motion is passed, and Katie Chan is appointed to the Academic Senate College Faculty Executive Committee. Congratulations, Katie.
Thank you.
Next, we will be moving on to our ASU-CLA Communications Board appointment with Caitlin Kim applying. Caitlin, whenever you're ready, please start your 1-minute opening introduction statement.
Hi, my name is Caitlin Kim. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a rising fourth year, second year transfer student majoring in sociology and English. And I'm applying to be an undergraduate student representative on the communications board. And I believe I'm a good fit because I care deeply about student media and the role it plays in shaping campus discourse, amplifying student voices, and holding the university accountable. I bring personal experience as a member of Fem News Magazine, one of the news magazines under UCLA Student Media, where I wrote, edited, and created designs for my articles. And I believe that this firsthand position will be really helpful as a undergraduate student representative on the communications board, since I will be representing the students who work for these publications. And yeah, I'm excited.
Thank you so much. We'll now move on to our 15-minute question and answer period. If any council members have any questions, please raise your hand. Yes, sir.
Hi, Caitlin. Thanks for joining us tonight. We are living through a scary moment for free independent student journalism during a time where free speech, especially surrounding opinion pieces, are being threatened. What approaches would you take to ensure that student journalism in all shapes and forms at UCLA remains protected?
I will ensure that student journalism remains protected by encouraging the publications to not be swayed by like external factors. And I think a big thing with that is to protect the identity of these student writers. Um, a lot of these students are really outspoken, and I believe that they really should be, but they may be afraid to write about it because of all the threats to free speech. So I'd really advocate for bringing back pseudonyms. I believe that this is just a really important step to protecting these student journalisms. I know that during my time at FEM, that was a concern for certain students who had like who had family members or just didn't feel safe writing about what they wanted to write about. And so yeah.
Thank you, Caitlin. I have a question um, for you. So seeing as ASUCLA Communications Board supports and overseeing student media groups, if one of the student media groups, let's say Taylor Bruin or La Gente or FEM or any other student media group was accused of not serving or not providing a unique perspective when it comes to our diverse student body, how would you ensure that you would hold those writers or any other staff accountable when it comes to their editorial freedom um, and just addressing the consistent, if any, spread of misinformation or bias report?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I think that it's really important to make sure that what's being published is truth, and also reflective of our diverse population. But I think that mistakes can happen, and when they do, I believe that one thing that I would do to address that would be to allow for edits to be made and to document those edits. I believe from my experience at FEM, the only outlet that was allowed to do that was the Daily Bruin, but I would advocate for all the news magazines to be able to edit their pieces with that being documented as well. Yeah.
Thank you. And I have one more question before I can pass on to you. How would you respond if one of the student media groups published information that led to the doxing or harassment of a UCLA student?
Sorry, can you maybe give a more specific example?
Yeah, just like let's say, I think I'll bring up like one specific case. Um, this past spring or winter, I forgot which term, when it came down to the judicial board ruling of Alicia and her position with Cultural Affairs Commission, um, there was consistent reporting on information that wasn't brought to the J board case, but it was reporting that seems biased and put Alicia and many members of the CAC in the CAC at threat. So how would you ensure that? So my question is, how would you
Oh,
ensure that like student media groups like the Daily Bruin publish information that doesn't lead to doxing or harassments of any student?
yeah. Okay. Thank you for that clarification. I think I would ensure that by well, I don't know like details of like I feel like it would really depend on each case, but I would um make sure that students that like the sorry, let me think about that for a bit. I'd make sure that like the publications are held accountable. Because I feel like or I believe that it's really important to to make sure that like what's being published isn't biased. Um, and so if it's like if someone's like being threatened by what's being published by student media, like student media should definitely be held accountable, whether that be um like investigating more into like motives or like of the specific student journalists. Yeah, that's what I could think of at the spot. Yeah.
No, no worries. Thank you so much. I believe you had a question.
Hi, yeah, I have multiple. So, kind of just piggybacking off of what Diego asked, as you know, it's very difficult to publish pieces, and it's a grueling process for each media organization to go through the editing process. So, how would you draw the line with regulating proper information that gets published, kind of like in the example Diego was talking about, and censorship?
I believe that like sorry, let me like think of that question a bit more. Regulating censorship with sorry, you said regulating censorship with
I said, sorry, I'll just repeat that. I know that that was really fast. So, I was asking how you would draw the line with regulating the kind of information that comes out to avoid the spread of misinformation, like the case that Diego mentioned, as well as just drawing the line with when it comes to things like censorship, since that's pretty prevalent in student media. And that was a pretty big issue that we faced within, at least with them during my time there. So, how would you draw the line with regulating what information gets published and put out to the public and what's considered censorship?
okay. Um, I believe like for example, like the case that Diego mentioned, that's like putting like a specific like UCLA student like in like a vulnerable position. So in like that kind of case, I believe that I don't think it's necessarily censorship to um like hold these like media outlets accountable. Um I believe that there's a difference between like holding someone accountable. I believe that everyone should have free speech. Um, but like when that free speech like harms specific individuals, that's when I believe that um like like they should be held accountable. So I believe that like because I don't know the way I'm thinking about it is like censorship is like kind of like something that prevents someone, and I think that the case that Diego mentioned is more of like a response, if that makes sense. So I think like that's kind of like how I would balance it. Like everyone has the right to free speech, but like just ensuring that they don't abuse that right or like use it to harm like specific individuals.
Yes, sir.
Hi, me again. As you already know, FEM and other identity and cultural-based news magazines have received a 40% budget cut from the ASUCLA Communications Board for the next academic year. So what is your understanding of how budget cuts impact student journalism, and what do you believe your responsibility is within this position?
Yeah, I believe that like being part of the comms board is has a huge role in like allocating funds. I know that that's part of like the description, and I know the budget cuts, like from my personal experience within FEM, um were like a huge hit, because I believe it was like 40%, which is pretty big, and like the budget we have like without the cuts weren't that big to begin with. Um and a lot of like the budget goes into like making magazines and like quarterly magazines, print magazines that are spread throughout campus. And so I know that was a big concern, but not only that, I know that Fem and then like a lot of the other magazines like Pack Ties, Outright, to name a few, not only like do journalism, but they also do a lot of community outreach work. Um, and so I remember like the fem leadership were kind of saying that the budget cuts are kind of like making them have to choose between their journalism or community outreach. And thankfully with fem, we were able to like fundraise, like like raise some external funds. But yeah, I believe that like to put it short, the budget cuts make a huge like they do make a huge difference, and I would really fight for like from based on my personal experience, knowing like how integral the budgets are, I would advocate for um yeah, more like, sorry, my words are getting mixed up, but like not as like not as much cuts to the budget for these student media like publications.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Yes, sir.
Okay, please don't hate me for asking so many questions. I love comm sport. I love student media, so I just want to make sure that we're all getting the proper information that we need. My last question for you should hopefully be a little easier. It's why do you think transfer student representation is important through a role like the one you're seeking on the ASUCLA Communications Board?
I believe that transfer student representation is really important on the communications board, because transfer students, like we only have 2 years here, and from what it like seems like a lot of the comms, like a lot of the marketing, quote unquote, for student media is seems to be geared more towards like first years rather than transfer students. I was looking at like looking through the Daily Bruin, I believe it was like 2023 to 2024 like diversity report, I believe that was what it's called. But it was kind of disheartening to find that only 11% of the Daily Bruin staff, like across all positions, were transfer students. And so I would like really fight for like making like finding the barriers to like that transfer students may face in like applying to student media, and then also like encouraging more transfers to apply, because I believe that transfers bring like such diverse experiences that deserve to be like shared. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I have one more question for you. Seeing as the ASUCLA Communications Board plays a role in hiring, it is responsible for interviewing and approving the next editor-in-chief of the Daily Bruin and other student media groups. What are some key qualities and values and experiences you would look to them for, and why?
In terms of appointing the like the editors or the editors in chiefs and the managing editors, I really value like people who like come from like diverse backgrounds and also like value diversity in itself, because I believe that that's what a big part of what student media is reflecting these like a bunch of different experiences. And so that would be a big thing. And then like another, I know that the EICs and MEs, they play a big, can I continue? Okay. They play a big role in that, I mean, sorry. They do a lot, like in terms of they just like do a lot for each of the magazines. And so like that's definitely someone who's dedicated to doing the work. And then like also like have the skill to, because I know that at least for Femme it was they went through multiple stages of edits and then the last eyes on it were the editor-in-chief's eyes. So just making sure that they have like the grammar skills so that what's being published is like up to editorial standards.
Thank you, Caitlin. Are there any other questions? I asked so that we can motion to extend the time for our question and answer period. Seeing that there aren't any more questions, we will now be moving on to Caitlin's 1-minute closing statement.
Thank you, everyone, for this opportunity to speak with you. From my experience in FEM and witnessing like the significant budget cuts that are impacting UCLA student media and I believe like student media outlets across the country, I understand just how important the communications board is, especially right now. If appointed, I'm committed to truly advocate for the students who work within the various publications under UCLA student media and to really actively communicate with these students to better represent their needs. I believe that student media is super vital, especially today as free speech is being increasingly threatened and as funding for independent journalism continues to shrink. I believe it's more important now more than ever to protect and advocate for these spaces where students can deliver truth, challenge misinformation, and share stories that might otherwise go unheard. And I'm dedicated to keeping student media alive and helping it thrive.
Thank you so much. Can we get ARC recommendations, please?
Yeah, I got it. So ARC was impressed by Caitlin's previous experience within student media as both a writer and editor on Femme News magazine. Although we would have appreciated more tangible goals and steps she would like to take through a position on the ASCCLA Communications Board, we are under the belief that she is an incredibly qualified candidate and thoughtful advocate for student journalists' growing needs amidst heavy budget cuts. With a 4-0 vote, ARC strongly recommends Caitlin for this appointment and looks forward to seeing how she grows through this role.
Thank you so much. Can we now have council deliberations? If you have any questions or comments, please raise your hands. Yes, Hiram.
Okay, well, so first of all, I'd like to apologize for throwing those questions at you, Caitlin, but I only did so because I knew you could handle it. And personally, I would be nowhere without student media, and I know it's the same for Caitlin. I worked with Caitlin in FEM, and I can safely assure council that Caitlin's wealth of knowledge will not be found elsewhere. It's been an honor to work with you, Caitlin, last year as both a writer and an editor. And if appointed, I look forward to working alongside you in your new capacity, especially to provide student media opportunities for our students.
Thank you so much. I can just give a quick comment. Thank you, Caitlin, for answering all my questions. The reason I asked is because um, a lot of student media groups are seen visibly by UCLA's undergraduate population. Thousands of students read these reports or articles, and it's super important that we have student advocates on the communications board that believe in justice and transparency and truth. So thank you so much for answering our questions. Are there any other council members that would like to give deliberations? If not, we can move on to a motion for a vote.
Motion to approve Caitlin Kim to the ASCCLA Communications Board for the 2025 to 2026 academic year.
I second.
Wait, sorry. I think you might maybe have to include through like appointment through your office as a TSR appointment.
Oh, okay, hold on. Okay, I motion to appoint Caitlin Kim to the ASCCLA Communications Board through the TSR office for a 1-year term for the 2025 to 2026 academic year.
I second.
Your motions, Tommy seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Please lower your hands. Please raise, all against, please raise your hands. All abstaining, please raise your hands. With Chris, is that abstain?
Yes, that is.
Thank you. With a vote of 9-0 to 1, the motion passes and Caitlin is approved to serve on the ASUC Communications Board as a CSR appointment. Congratulations, Caitlin.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda and our final appointment for today is Andres Gonzalez with who applied to the Academic Senate Legislative Assembly. Andres, whenever you're ready, please give your 1-minute opening statement.
I'm ready. So, good af oh wait, okay. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Andres Gonzalez. I use he, him pronouns, and I am a third-year political science major with a minor in public affairs here at UCLA. I'm a transfer student from Los Angeles Valley College, and I'm applying to serve as a student representative to the Legislative Assembly because I feel that students, especially transfers, deserve a bigger voice in conversations when it comes to shaping academic future. As of right now, I'm currently serving as a director of joint projects under the transfer student representative, where I am beginning to work across many offices to ensure that transfer students are not just seen, but also supported. Currently, I'm also working as a new student advisor, judicial intern, and law review writer, and it's helped me to improve my abilities in communicating effectively. I'm also committed to representing student purposes, particularly those who are often underrepresented, and it would be such an honor to serve in this space.
Thank you so much. We will now be moving on to our 15-minute question and answer period from council. If you have a question, please raise your hand. Yes, Chris.
Thanks, Diego. And there's thank you for being here today. My first question for you is what do you see as the most exigent challenge facing the academic senate, and how do you plan to address them during your term?
I'm so sorry. My audio's cutting out. You guys sound like very slow. Can I rejoin really quickly?
Yeah, but oh, he's gone. Oh no, he's not. Yeah, feel free to do so if you need to.
I'm not able to understand what you're saying. I'm sorry. My thing is cutting out.
If you need to hop off the Zoom and rejoin, feel free to do so.
Let me hop off. Could you repeat the question again? I'm so sorry.
No worries, that happens to all of us. My question is, what do you see as the most pressing challenge facing the academic senate, and how do you plan to address them during your term, if appointed?
So I would say that the pressing challenge as of right now is how I would say maybe transparency and also the availability of courses. Um, as a new student advisor, I'm noticing that for incoming students, new students, transfer students, they are struggling a lot to get courses and access to those said courses because of enrollment times or a lot of bureaucracy that could possibly be in the way. Um, and I would say it's also somewhat difficult for students to fully grasp any, I guess, course availability and graduation requirements. So I would say that that would be one of the big issues, and the Legislative Assembly has a real opportunity to maybe like help support these students, especially transfers who are still struggling to navigate the beginnings of UCLA and how to offset this burden on students.
Yes, Hiram?
Hi. So advocating for students in general is difficult within these settings, especially since legislative assembly is huge. So it makes advocating for transfer student needs especially more difficult. So I was wondering how you plan on approaching transfer student advocacy within a space as big as legislative assembly.
I would say that if appointed, it would be a very positive thing to have transfer student there advocating. It's not easy, regardless if you're a transfer or not, it's because there is no one special way to approach a situation like this. Transfers come from such unique backgrounds, and it's important to keep in mind that not all transfers come from same backgrounds. So for me, I would approach transfer advocacy by first listening to the people with whom you will be representing. In this case, it is transfers. Then we would try to identify what the biggest issue is that they want to be addressed. And I wouldn't, at least in my perspective, I've had a an amazing experience as a transfer student. However, I do know of some people who may have not had the best experience. And so I usually find those issues when it comes to STEM majors. And I'm noticing this now as a new student advisor. I'm seeing the issues that a lot of the transfer students are having. And so I would like to remind maybe in the academic senate that transfer students are something something worth mentioning, and these issues are showing up consistently, and it's important to find a way to ask the right question and solve and answer the question correctly, and making sure that decisions are made with transfer students in mind. So I believe that kind of like the way I believe in what type of advocacy I believe in. So it's um sorry, it's informed and it's based off of real student experience.
Chris?
Thank you for your response. And there's my next question for you is what personal experiences or values drive your desire to serve on the academic senate, and how do those inform the way you would approach the role?
Um, I stand on very big values when it comes to me, and I learned these based off of my previous job. It's always serving with passion, integrity, and quality. Um, I feel like my desire to serve also comes from the idea that as a transfer student and also as a first gen college student, I there's a lot of things that I had to figure out on my own where to go. I really didn't have much anyone to talk to about how to approach these issues. And so that pressure and that process just showed me how important it is to be transparent and supportive um, our academic system could be. This is why I also serve as a new student advisor. I noticed that transfer students and I would assume also first years struggle a lot with that transition. And so um, this is a position that I genuinely enjoy. I wake up in the morning every morning at 6 in the morning, feeling very content with the idea that I'm waking up and serving the university well by helping these incoming students um, find their way through such a complicated process that they're just now being exposed to. And in USAC, I'm also attempting to help the transfer student representative make transfer voices heard and inclusive all throughout campus. And these are some of the things where I enjoy doing it. I enjoy it with a passion. I have a huge passion for this. I am very integral about this. I attempt to do my best to hold myself accountable, and most importantly, I attempt to deliver all of this with high quality. What I mean by that is, especially as an NSA, your work can be possibly futile if you do not deliver it with high quality, and that also goes a long way in terms of the new student experience. It helps. It helps them show that the transfer community is very alive and well as their new student advisor is a transfer student.
Are there any other final questions? Seeing as there are none, we will move on to your 1 minute closing statement, Andres.
Awesome. So I would like to say thank you guys again for the opportunity to take this immense responsibility in the academic senate. As a transfer student, I feel like it's easy to be left out, especially when um, you are not represented in spaces where decisions are made, which is why I've attempted to hone into roles that allow me to um, help incoming students and allow me to advocate for others and stay engaged in workings within campus, which is why I enjoy my positions where I stand right now as a new student advisor through USAC and also in residential life. If selected, I will be committed to showing up prepared, ready to help and speak on issues that matter, not just to me, but also to a lot of students who their voices need to be heard. So I'd like to say thank you so much again, and I really, really appreciate your consideration.
Thank you so much. Now we'll be moving on to ARC recommendations.
Yeah, so Andres is an incredibly passionate leader, evident through his role as a new student advisor. His love for giving back to his student body is admirable. Although we would have appreciated hearing a more comprehensive understanding of the academic senate during his ARC interview, we have no doubt that he will succeed within this appointment, and we are excited to see the kind of leader he becomes. With a 3-0 vote, ARC recommends Andres for this appointment.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We will now be moving on to council deliberations. If you have any comments or questions, please raise your hand. Yes, sir.
Hi, so as Andres told everybody, he is a member of my office. He's new to USAC, but he's been taking charge on every single task handed to him, and he has, in our conversations, just proven the love he has for his student body, and also just the passion he has for trying out different things and just navigating leadership in all different shapes and forms. So I'm really excited to see Andres step into this kind of leadership role within the academic senate. We all know that this is a huge responsibility, having to advocate on behalf of students to a huge group of faculty. It's daunting at a lot of times, but I feel like he has what it takes to be in that role, as well as balance his role within the academic senate as well as his role within my office. And I really encourage you all to vote yes.
Thank you so much. Are there any other council members? Seeing as there are none, we will now be moving on to motion for a vote. Can someone please motion, include the name of the position and his appointment? So I believe that's through TSR. Yes. Yes, sir.
Motion to approve Andres to the Academic Senate Legislative Assembly Transfer Student Representatives appointment for the 2025 to 2026 academic year.
Second.
Her motions, I think, who was the second?
Joy.
Joy. Joy seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Thank you. Please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. All abstaining, please raise your hands. With the votes of 11-0, the motion has passed, and Andres is appointed to the Academic Senate Legislative Assembly as a TSR appointment. Thank you so much, Andres, for coming out here today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate everything, you guys.
Thank you, and we look forward to seeing you on the Academic Senate. We will now be moving on to officer reports. For actually, no, I think if you'd like to say, mention anything, please be brief. Please say whatever you need to say. I'll be really brief. I attended the UC Regents meeting and I continued conversations with our UC Student Regents meetings alongside Sherry and Tommy with concerns to the CRC and the SIOC. Tommy?
Hey everyone, ARC has been busy at work, as you can tell by all our amazing appointments we have heard today. That being said, I have noticed that we have a lot of appointments waiting in like the general inbox that have not been assigned to ARC. So we're gonna be going through real quick just so you all can get on moving those. Going into how many appointments each office has that have just been sitting there and have not moved forward to ARC. So for the Office of the President, there are currently 10 that are sitting there. If you could please assign them to ARC, EDP 0, IVP 0. FAC, we have 3 there. So if you could please assign those. CSC, we have 0. Cultural Affairs, we have 0. Academic Affairs, we have 20. So if you could please get on those, we really would like to hear them. ISR, we have 0. TSR, we have 0. And then FSC, we have 1. So please move that forward. Thank you all. That's all for IVP.
Thank you, Tommy. Sherry,
All my updates will be in my written report.
thank you. Talia,
My reports will also be written.
Jaya.
I usually don't like to say anything, but just a couple quick things. I attended Regents meeting and they have moved the A5 discussion item to next discussion, so we'll be following up on that. I was invited to join a mental health work group from a UCOP officer, so we'll be following up on that. Attended UCSA board with Sherry, and my resolution passed that we last passed with some SWANA org, so excited about that. UCSA ledge updates. I'll be meeting with some staffers from Assembly Member Mark Gonzalez the first week of August to propose and get working on that, and then planning with TSR and ASU on our Black Transfer Welcome event.
Thank you, Brett.
Hello. Is this working? They're written for this week. Thank you.
Thank you. Chris.
Hello, y'all. My office is currently conducting interviews for executive and directorship applications. We've interviewed over 10 people this week. In addition to that, my chief of Senate, as I mentioned during one of the interviews today, is conducting interviews. So those appointments that you see in the workflow will continue to be waiting until my academic Senate chief of Senate interviews those candidates. Once we interview them, then they will be moved forward to ARC. This is common practice. It was common practice the year before Sujana. It was common practice the year of Sujana. And last year I did not do it because I wanted to make the transition as easy for a lot of the applicants, but we realized that students were not cognizant of the interconnectedness of USAC, and so we added it back. So my chief of Senate is currently conducting interviews for those 20 applications. And that you got Otme and you got Katie because my chief of Senate had already interviewed them and thought it was appropriate for us to move them forward. Um, in addition to that, we are continuing to meet as executive board to plan the school year. And the rest of my updates will be written. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris. Daniel.
Hi guys, just working on Brain Bash and EAF along with Divine. But other than that, everything will be written.
Um, Edison. No, not here. Sorry. Divine.
Hi, yeah, just working on Bruin Bash and EAF with Daniel, and the rest will be written.
Thank you. Joy.
FAC hiring is live and all applications are due this Friday, July 25th. We are hiring 3 project directors and up to 26 staffers for all committees. And you can apply using the links on our Instagram. And we are looking for appointments for the Campus Sustainability Committee, TGIF, and the John Wooden Board of Governors. If you're interested in applying, please apply using the appointment application link. And they will be filled by the end of summer. Everything else is written.
Hey, thank you, Joy. Please, please, please apply to TGIF. Hannah? Wait, no, no, no. Oops. Sorry, Nico. Nico.
Hi everyone. I just found my appointment and I will be moving them to ARC. I did not know they were in there, so thank you for the reminder, Tommy. But other than that, I am preparing to release our applications, and I will now be working with our newly appointed FICOM director, Bethany, on the future structure of the Budget Review Committee.
Thank you, Nico. Hannah?
Our office just has been continuing to table at new student orientations and meeting to plan for the upcoming school year, but the rest is written.
Thank you, Hannah. Kale? Not here, I believe. Wait, no. Oh my God. Sorry, I messed that up. Here.
Not you forgetting me. I
Yeah, sorry.
feel I'm offended. Okay, it's fine. Anyways, so the TSR office has our housing input form up on our Instagram account. International and transfer beef? No, that's non-existent. There's there's only beef between president and TSR now, okay? This is I'm hurt. Anyways, please promote our housing form. And also, I get a little blurb during Transfer New Student Orientation, and I promoted ISR's director apps. That's how you know there is no ISR TSR beef. And I promoted FACS, I promoted CACS, and I am open to promoting more applications if you guys would message me about it. So please feel free to hit me up if you want to include your applications within my link tree that we hand out to students at Transfer New Student Orientation. And also, my Transfer Opportunities Committee reached out to every USAC office on various opportunities we could highlight for our August TSR Opportunities newsletter. So please respond to those emails if you haven't already, because it's a little disrespectful to my directors. And to be honest, this is your role as an elected official of the student body to respond. So please respond if you haven't already.
Tommy, who's the proxy for Kaya? I think I saw a hand up too a bit earlier.
Yeah, I think I just promoted her, Suamaya.
Yes, hi, I'm Somna. I'm the chief of staff for the ISR. So since Kaya couldn't be here today, I'm filling in for her. So our committee has been working towards we've been meeting with ASUCLA and Dash U to work towards expanding legal aid services for international students. And I believe we're also setting up a meeting on the 29th with Dash U to discuss the waiver of stay over fees and sorry, with UCLA housing as well. And apart from that, I believe that Kaya also has interviewed with the Daily Bruin and a few other places. And we're also setting up the groundwork for our Global Bites series and we also met with TSR's team to discuss our collaboration for Bruin Buddies, and we finalized our planning for 3 fall quarter events.
Thank you so much. We'll now move on to our administrative representative, Orlando.
Hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Just one sort of quick update, and this is just kind of maybe going off of what Tommy said. I know you're all really busy, but I just want to point out that the Program Activities Board still needs some appointments, and because of it, deadlines have already been pushed back. They provide funding for community service projects, annual service projects, and for regular funding throughout the school year. So it's just my pitch to for the Program Activities Board. That's it. Thank you.
Orlando, what day has that been pushed back to, you mentioned?
Yeah, so great question, Diego. So, for instance, the CAC, the Community Activities Commission Fund, which funds annual community service projects, typically is due mid-August. That one has been pushed back to Thursday, September 11th. Campus Programs Committee regular and youth fund typically is due Thursday of week 0. This year has been pushed back to Thursday, October 16th. So as you can see, things have been kind of pushed back 2 to 3 to 4 weeks. I did speak to the advisor. She says there's still a little time, particularly for CPC, if to move the dates back to the original deadlines if we can fill those spots in time.
Okay, thank you. I'll reach out to you about that for more information.
All right. Thanks, Diego.
Thank you. Um, I believe Lorelai, right? Yeah, Lorelai.
Yes. Hi. Hi, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Just a couple of updates on my end, or reminders. I have firstly, kind of piggybacking off of what Orlando was talking about related to funding and appointments. Please remember to make appointments related to funding chairs, so we can push them through and prepare them for funding at the beginning of the year, get their guidelines and applications approved by all of you, and get them transitioned in, as well as appointing your e-board chair by fall. Beyond that, continue to get rec signatures if you're still requiring them. And then beyond that, for Diego, Tommy, and Nico, if you haven't already, make sure to fill out those appointment committee descriptions that I had shared with you, related to some of the USAC committees that you all appoint to. Let me know if you have any questions regarding that. But yeah, that's all I have for tonight.
Thank you. Jonathan?
Hey, hi, hello, all. Happy Tuesday. Hope you're doing well. A couple things from me today. First is just a reminder and an encouragement to work on your rosters and your volunteer agreements if you're at that stage in your hiring. Big shout out to TSR, FAC, Gen Rep 2, and Gen Rep 3 for already having good handfuls submitted. And if not, I think like TSR has like 55 right now or something of that sort. So get your agreements in, get your rosters updated. I sent out a calendar invite today, but just a reminder that your mandatory Title IX training will be on September the 30th from 6 to 7 p.m. in the Bruin Viewpoint room, which is your council room, right before your council meeting. So that's a Tuesday evening. That is a requirement for your stipend per your bylaws. So it does need to be done regardless of if you've done it in the past or if you've done it with another department. I should have a firm date on your mandatory care training next week for you. They are going to discuss it and let me know next week. But I'm 80% sure it'll be that following week, the 7th. If not, it will be the 14th of October. Similarly, that hour before council, in your council meeting room. I put this also in Slack, but Jessica is out of office this week. So if you need anything from her, please let one of us know, or expect a delayed response. She'll be back next week. And then my final two things are also out of office announcements. So tomorrow, Lorelai, myself, and Josh from accounting will all be out of office. We're all doing a training off campus. So Beverly will be around tomorrow if you need anything, or if it's urgent, feel free to give me a call. I'll have my work phone on me. And then this will be the last meeting that I am at before I go on vacation. So I am going on vacation August the 4th through the 17th. So I will not be at your next meeting. Next week will be my last week in office before my vacation. So if you need anything, please let me know sooner rather than later so I can get all of that squared away. But whilst I'm gone, you will be in the very capable and lovely hands of Lorelai. That is it. Have a great week.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. I think Peter was here earlier. I don't know if he's still here. Oh, yes, he is.
Nothing on my side, but I hope you all have a good summer.
All right, thank you. And we will now be moving on to old business. First, we'll move on to our Article 2, Section C, bylaw change. With the TSR. Tom, if you want to share a little bit about the CRC, or not, yeah, CRC. Tommy.
Wait, sorry, you cut out. Can you repeat what you said?
Can you share a little bit about the Constitutional Review Committee vote?
Yes, so Constitutional Review Committee met yesterday to discuss both of the bylaw changes, and they passed 4 voting in favor, 0 against, and 0 abstaining. So we are in full support of these two bylaw changes. Okay, yes, we'll send that out in the future, Jonathan. Sorry about that.
Thank you, Tommy, and then thank you, Jonathan. And so yeah, I covered this bylaw change last meeting, but essentially this would add 2 appointments for the Transfer Student Representative office, one to the Campus Retention Committee for a 1-year term, and then another for the Student Initiated Outreach Committee for a 1-year term. And that's about it. If someone can motion for a vote.
Okay,
To vote.
what would the wording be? Motion to
Motion to add, uh, that's a very good question.
Can I go?
Yes, Sean.
Motion to approve the TSR bylaw change on Article 2, Section C, Clause 4.
Thank you.
Okay, hold on, let me do this. Okay. Motion to approve the TSR bylaw change for Article 2, Section C, Clause 4.
I second.
Your motions, Tommy seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. All abstaining. With a vote to 11 to 0, that is approved. We will now be moving on to our second bylaw change for international student representative. Essentially the same. ISR's office would get 1-year term and another 1-year term for the Campus Retention Committee and the Student Initiated Outreach Committee. And same goes for the Constitution Review Committee, vote of 4 to 0. Can someone please motion for a vote? Yes, sir.
Motion to approve the a bylaw change for the ISR in Article 2, Section C, Clause 4.
Second.
All in favor, please raise your hands. Please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. All abstaining. With a vote to 11 to 0, that bylaw is approved. That concludes today's meeting. With that being said, I adjourn today's meeting of July 22nd at 8:55 p.m. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Good night.